Alice, thank you for being here. And I'm so excited to talk to you about everything you've got planned for the gifted slash highly sensitive person virtual summer camp in the Puttyverse this summer.
Yeah,
Sounds amazing. So before we get into that, do you want to just like introduce yourself in whatever way feels good to you?
absolutely. So I am a multi-potentialite for sure. That's why I'm here. And before I found the Puttyverse, I was really stuck in one field. But even then, I was displaying quite a bit of multi-potentiality through that one field. So I was in the music field and I was picking up a lot of different instruments. I was picking up a lot of different genres. And I was that person who was known for their versatility and multidimensionality. So, but I didn't know how to own that until I saw your TED Talk. So I was really, really happy to see that because if it weren't for that, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know like how satisfied with life I would be at this point.
Wow. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Um,
So now I just do so many different things. I mean, it's really hard to pin down, but I love event planning, which actually is the newest thing with this. The summer camp taught me that I love event planning. So I'm always tacking on new, um, just tacking on new things. But I think at the end of the day, what I'm the most interested in is bringing people together, bringing the community together. So whatever it takes to do that, it doesn't really matter what it is. That's the big
yeah,
picture.
that's awesome. And how long have you been in the Puttyverse?
I think for over 2 years now,
Wow,
somewhere between 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
cool. And
Hmm.
are you one of the co-leaders of the HSP group? Is that
That's
right?
right. Yeah, one of the
Cool.
co-facilitators. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about so for those watching that might not be familiar with HSP or gifted, that terminology, could you just like as quickly as I know it's a
Sure.
big topic, but yeah, just describe like what that means.
Absolutely. So I'll start with the easiest one. I'm highly sensitive because gifted is one of those that just gets a bad rap
Yeah.
because of our education systems all over. And I think a lot of us don't, or just, I mean, like just as a collective, on this planet, I think a lot of us don't really know what gifted really is. And a lot of us think that, like, and I am kind of starting with giftedness then, like basically, like, let's go nonlinear. Yeah, I think a lot of people have misconceptions of what giftedness really is. And people often want to narrow it down to the quantitative aspects, like what's your IQ and
Mm,
what's your logical mathematical score and stuff like that. But a lot of people are starting to realize that that can be a very rigid concept of giftedness. And so nowadays, people are seeing it as kind of as a part of high sensitivity in different ways. So the qualitative understanding of giftedness very much has to do with high sensitivity to external stimuli. A lot of a lot of gifted kids grow up with a higher level of awareness than a lot of people around them, and that doesn't make them superior. What that just means is that they have a lot more coming in, they're taking in a lot more, and what that means for them is that they often are a square peg in a round hole in society. A lot of people think that, oh, gifted people should have it easy, gifted people should have it made. But unfortunately, it's not that way. And especially when people become gifted adults, they essentially become kind of like betrayed because with the education systems are working with gifted kids. But once you become a gifted adult, and a lot of people don't even know that gifted kids become gifted adults, and that's kind of a big thing. And so a lot of these people that I'm working with as a co-facilitator are individuals who are now owning their multipotentiality, owning their higher level of awareness along with that multipotentiality, and what it means for them to be a gifted polymath.
mm,
Um, so multipotentiality, for some people, for some researchers, people think that um, that giftedness and multipotentiality are very linked.
yeah.
So I mean that's not, and I think the word gifted it is I think it's on, yeah, I think it's on the Putty Like website. It's like in one of the, yeah, it's one of the quotes. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's because it's tied in with the research. Like the history of the word multipotentiality is completely tied in with giftedness research.
Hmm.
And, part of my work has been to kind of remove multipotentiality from that context, but that's certainly where the root of the word comes from. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and
Yeah,
there's a huge amount of overlap. I mean, everything you just described, I can say about most multipods also.
right, exactly.
Feeling like as a kid, your curiosity is being nurtured and encouraged, but then as an adult, you're expected to like fit into one track and to focus.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
I honestly think that gifted, yeah, like what you're saying is so, I don't think that gifted and multipotentiality are necessary. I mean, they can be different because of the Venn diagram, but for some of us, our giftedness is our
yeah,
multipotentiality.
for
It
sure.
can be. So for highly sensitive people often have a really hard time with lights, sounds, I'm just, all kinds of external stimuli. But on top of that, they can be also very perceptive and very perceptive of other people's emotions, can sometimes they're a little traumatized more easily, I would say. It doesn't mean that they're going to be more traumatized or necessarily, but they are often kind of just like hurt more easily, and that kind of thing. But I think what I am doing, and a lot of people like Elaine Aron, a lot of the pioneers, really, if it weren't for Elaine Aron, we wouldn't be here. So it's really amazing, like what I like to do with her work, as it relates to my own personality and like how it works for me, is kind of showing HSPs that they can be empowered. They don't have to be hurt all the time. They can set appropriate boundaries for their lives.
So why don't you tell us about some of the events you have planned?
Yeah, so we're going to have game nights. Those are the first ones that will happen most of the time. We'll also have movie nights starting next month, but the movie nights are designed for gifted and highly sensitive people to get a chance to see themselves through somebody else. And a lot of times, being able to see oneself through media characters can be really helpful for people to understand what they need in life,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, what they need, what they don't need, all of that, right? So we're looking forward to watching the Highly Sensitive Person movie, which is also, I believe that's under Elaine Aron as well. And we are still picking movies. And so it's really going to be up to everyone else to see what's popular, what people actually want to vote on, what people actually want to watch.
And just to
Yeah,
clarify,
so everything is,
all of these events are virtual, right? Just to clarify for
yes,
yeah.
every single last one of these events are virtual. And we wanted to make that happen so that it would be really convenient during a pandemic. And that it would also be just really convenient in general because a lot of highly sensitive people, like we always want to be able to go to these awesome festivals during the summer, like Burning Man and Lollapalooza, and things in like the clubs in Berlin, Germany, and like like I've always wanted to go to Ibiza for like the EDM festivals and stuff like that in Spain, and when I think about it though, the first time I went to one of those situations, I was just like, so yeah, and so because I understand that empathetically, I thought this might be a really great idea for people, and even people who are not necessarily like air quotes diagnosed with high sensitivity or giftedness. You can still come along because if you would like to learn more about it, and as long as I think the most important thing is that people be respectful towards high sensitivity, and we all are, at least, the group, we have been really talking about boundaries. And I think this will be um, an excellent way for us to understand, or an excellent way for us to apply that learning that we have been talking about.
So we've got game nights, we've got movie nights. What else do you have planned?
We have Campfire Stories and Songs events, which a lot of people are super excited about.
Ah,
Those are, yeah, I actually live really close to a beach. I could easily get some firewood and everything together. So I'm hoping to make sure I have a campfire on my end. Yeah, but basically, what we're going to do is just share stories, share uplifting stories, share fun songs. We share myths. A lot of people like mythology, sharing lots of just heartwarming, fun things. I think it's going to be just a really nice space for people to share who they are in a different way.
wow. That sounds so
Yeah.
cool. Like, just so you're literally going to have a campfire there on your Zoom screen.
Yes,
Oh,
I
that's
am.
so,
Yes, it will not be fake.
that's so
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, definitely. We'll also have, let me see, I'm trying to think of the other ones off the top of my head. I
There
know
was some
have.
art, some
Yes, Healing Art Club. Yes. I'm super excited about that one because that's one that had that's one that I had been envisioning with at the time that I was envisioning everything else, and I was trying to actually create a complete healing art camp at some point, but there hasn't been quite a container to be able to hold that just yet, and I'm totally okay with that. So I thought it would be really nice for us to have a healing art club, and I want to actually read the copy that I wrote for that one because
Sure.
that I really, really loved the way that I said it. Should be. Here we go. So basically, the Healing Art Club is going to be part resource share and part show and tell. And the Puttyverse is not new to show and tell
Yeah, we
events,
love
so
our
that will
show
be
and
great.
tells.
We really do here, and it's really awesome. So yeah, we'll be talking about our favorite art and why it's particularly healing for us and for others. And I say here, it's like get creative about what counts as healing art because a lot of people think that healing art has to do with drawing or music or some other form of what we consider creative art. So what I have under here is like, well, some examples like being with stuffed animals equals healing art. Creating an AI that speaks back to you and reflecting on the process equals healing art. Video games equals healing art, especially for me. It's definitely a healing art for me. Giving yourself previously unmatched self-care, definitely a healing art. So I think that the whole entire idea for this is so that we can all understand that we all heal in very different ways and that there's no one way to heal, and that to there's no one way to because it's not necessarily just heal, because I think sometimes when we think of the word heal we automatically think that like, oh, I was sad and now I'm happier because I did this thing. And I think that when I say heal, I really mean that you're just enjoying your life. What are these things like? What are things that help you enjoy your life more?
Mhm.
And that's really what it is. What are things that help you find more rest? What are things that help you find more pleasure? More ease. So that's really what I'm looking at.
I love that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. And we also have our 1 hour meditation retreats. We'll have at least two of those. I'm really excited for the meditation retreats because there are a lot of people who may think that meditation is there's only one way to meditate, right? So I consider writing a form of meditation for me. I love, love, love to write, and it's so meditative for me. And so I think that that's going to be kind of that's the reason why we have the Healing Art Club, because it's really meant to balance the meditation retreat, where people who may actually benefit from learning a meditation practice, but maybe there are people who may not benefit from a meditation practice. Like I actually don't benefit from just sitting and breathing all the time. I do sometimes, absolutely, but not all the time. So I think it's really, really great how all of these events kind of tie together and balance out and really are kind of supposed to be this open system, and kind of like this interdependent system, this system that's kind of like every single one of them is interdependent upon each other. Um, and whatever spills out of one event, like the meditation retreat, because there will inevitably be people who go, I don't benefit from this, right? Especially with gifted and highly sensitive people. Typically very deeply individualistic, deeply individualistic people. So it can be, that's why I thought it would be really nice to offer a calming meditation retreat. And then on top of that, have that. But then also, I like the way that the meditation retreats are designed, in such a way that they're right before kind of more energizing events. So sometimes we might have, or events where we might have to take in more media or take in more input. So usually they're designed like an hour before the movie night. We'll have like an hour break and then go into a movie night, or hour break, go into a book club, hour break, go into, any of these different ones. So, and
Cool.
last but not least, there's the book club, which a lot of us are very excited about because, I mean, like, who's not excited about book clubs? A lot of people are. I mean, I think in the puttyverse in
Yeah.
general, that's kind of what I mean by who's not excited about book
Right.
clubs. In the puttyverse, people are always trying to figure out, no matter what group you're in. I think, like, I see that all the time. Like, if you just look up book club in the forums, I guarantee you it will just go on and on and on, probably. So I think this will be amazing, and it'll be similar to the movie nights, where we read the highly sensitive person book. We'll read other books about giftedness, high sensitivity, and hopefully we can see ourselves in different ways, learn more, and and discuss. And I think that's what will be really exciting.
Great. And people can attend all of these or some of them. They can pick and choose what works best for them.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
that's
the
great.
whole idea with being highly sensitive, is that you're not going to be able to go to all the events sometimes, or maybe you will. It's up to you. And I think that that's really what matters. And this is supposed to be reflective of, like it's supposed to be reflective of, um, I'll say like, it's really supposed to be, it's meant to hold space for people who are highly sensitive.
Yeah. And that's especially important because we have all the other Puttyverse events. We have so many events. There are so many different groups, so
Yes.
many topics, and one of my concerns is always not
Yeah.
overwhelming people.
Hmm.
So I'm always just stressing, you don't have to go to everything. Like pick the ones that, and it's hard for multipods to sometimes
It's
choose,
true.
but there's lots of events all the time, and they often repeat. Though this series, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how the summer camp goes, but yeah, they've got a few months to experience that.
Yeah.
So this is running June through the end of September. Is that right?
Yes, I believe until September 26th,
Cool.
something like that. Yeah,
Cool.
definitely like one of the last weeks of, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited because, like, well, among other reasons, like one of my goals with the Puttyverse is to empower Multipause to initiate things, to
Yeah.
create a space where y'all can be like, I've got a cool idea, and like, how can we support that? How can we help you make that happen?
Yeah.
Um, and so I love that you're doing this, um, and I think people are gonna really get a lot out of it. Um,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love the opportunity to be able to do this because I haven't always had access to the implementation of my ideas, like very seriously, like for most of my life, I don't think I've had access to that, as somebody who's BIPOC, disabled, and, and a lot of those other different things, neurodivergent. So that's what I love about this space. I originally got a scholarship to come here, and I had no idea when I got the scholarship to come here just how big of a deal it was going to be to my mental health, how big of a deal it was going to be, like how much it was going to give back to me. So I am just, yeah, I am more than grateful for you. Thank you, Emily.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. Um, yeah. And I'm so grateful to you. And I just like the best thing about our community is the
Yeah,
community members. Like
it is.
everyone gets
Yep.
to make the space what it is. It's
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
cool. Well, everyone watching, if you are not yet a putty peep, you have a chance to join, I believe today and tomorrow until Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. So if you're at all curious, now's a great time to jump into the Puttyverse because we've got this awesome virtual summer camp happening. And there's also always amazing events. But yeah, thank you, Atlas, so much for being here and for everything that you do.
Thank
It's been a pleasure.
you.